And Jesus said, "If a blind person leads a blind person, both will fall into a pit. And if one is strong, he will not be bound. And no one can enter the house of a strong man and seize it by force, unless he ties his hands first. Then he will plunder his house." The Gospel of Thomas, saying 34. Friends, I'd like to tell you a short story based on this saying. Willow Creek was the kind of place where you could still hear the church bell echo across the valley on Sunday mornings, where folks gathered at Rosie's Cafe for coffee before work, and where Friday night football at the high school field felt like the whole town had shown up. On the surface, it was peaceful, but just beneath, there was worry. Lost jobs after the sawmill closed, rising bills, and quiet desperation for hope that too often made people cling to anyone who spoke with confidence. Eli Bradford was one of those voices. Tall, sharp-dressed, and always quick with a grin, Eli seemed to have the answers. He promised townsfolk investment deals that would change their lives, a way to climb out of their struggles and finally get ahead. People listened because he sounded sure. They followed because they were tired and struggling. But Eli was blind in spirit. He wasn't guided by truth, only by greed. And as Jesus said, when the blind lead the blind, both fall into the pit. Now, Jonah Miller, owner of Miller's Hardware, was different. His little shop smelled of lumber and paint thinner, its shelves stocked with everything from nails to garden hoses. And Jonah lived a simple life. His strength wasn't in his voice or in his charm, but in the steady faith that anchored him. When Eli came by one evening, leaning against the counter with a slick smile, he said, "Jonah, you're missing the best chance of your life. Everybody's in. Invest with me and you'll double your money before the harvest season. Don't you want to give your kids more than this old hardware store?" Jonah wiped sawdust from his hands, looking Eli in the eye. "Eli, I've seen good men lose themselves chasing promises that crumble. If the blind lead the blind, they both fall into the pit. I won't walk into one just because you're shouting that it's safe." Eli scoffed. "So you think you're stronger than me?" Jonah leaned on the counter, his voice calm but firm. "Strength isn't about being loud or clever. A strong man guards his house. My house, my heart, belongs to Jesus. No one ties his hands, and no one binds me unless I let them." Now, at first, folks whispered that Jonah was stubborn, maybe even foolish. But when Eli's schemes unraveled, leaving families broke, friendships torn apart, and trust shattered, the town realized who had been blind. Eli left Willow Creek in shame, his promises exposed as lies. Jonah didn't gloat. Instead, he unlocked his store on Sunday afternoons, not for business, but for kindness. He stocked shelves with donated groceries for hurting families, lent tools to neighbors who couldn't afford them, and gave odd jobs to out-of-work teens. Standing at the counter, he told anyone who would listen, "When fear or greed try to tie you up, remember, Christ is stronger. He guards the house if you let him, and no one can plunder what belongs to him. Now, the people of Willow Creek learned a lesson here. Following a blind guide, no matter how loud or confident, leads only to ruin. True strength is quiet and unshakable, rooted in Christ. And when Jesus guards the house of your life, no one can plunder it. You become a shelter for others. And though Willow Creek was small, its faith grew strong because one man chose to stand firm in Jesus. God bless you, my friends.